Well, hello, welcome to Jamie TV. Thank you for being here. I thought I'd just let that play up as far as the fart metal section in the middle because that's what we're here to sort out today. Hello to folks in the chat. Let's see who we've got here. We've got Kiara and Jade and DJ Cthulhu and Grant. Welcome. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. That's 4 people here already. I am a megastar. Thank you for making me feel awesome. It's kind of a miserable day here in the UK. It was really, really nice. Just, nicely warm, not too hot. Don't like it too hot. And the birds were sat on the roof of my studio having a good old sing and showing off. Hey, Mateus, thanks for being here. That's 5 people. I am massive. And then suddenly it's gone all grey and it's a bit cold and it's pissing it down with rain. That's the UK. And that, to be honest, is kind of how I like it. So, now then, let's see. Let me go to this view here. And I'm just going to press stop with my mouse. There we are, like a professional. And now I can turn this volume back up here for the iPad. Right, so how's everybody doing? Before we get started, let me know what you've been up to this weekend and how is everybody. Hope everybody's well and groovy. So I'm going to zoom in on this section here, right? So this is the weird middle bit, which has become known as the fart metal section. I'm going to go to here. And I am it's wet and miserable in Norway as well, is it? I really, really enjoyed my time in Norway. I toured in Norway too long ago now, and it was great. Fantastic gigs. It seemed as though everybody in Norway just came out to a gig to have a great time, which is starkly different from the attitude in the UK, where people come out like this. Go on then. Impress me. I'm determined to have a bad time. And also people in Norway seem to they come out to have a great time and to get absolutely slaughtered. Well, nothing wrong with that. And the truth about unicorns is here. Well, it's things are looking up. I am an absolute megastar. We've got 6 people in the chat and we've got a couple of lurkers. And lurkers, it's fine to lurk. That's cool. But, if you want to join in the chat, that's awesome too. It's cold and cloudy in Perth. Is it? Right. Okay. That's not how we ever imagined Perth in the UK at all. Let's see now. Just About Unicorn says, great weekend. We'll try and dip in and out. Dry in Glasgow. Last time I went to Glasgow, I had a fight. Yeah. With someone twice my size. And I won. I kicked his ass. It needed doing. Very nice and sunny day here in Poland. So it's miserable in Australia, but it's sunny in Poland. The world's all fucked up. Right. Okay. So DJ, you're in the UK, aren't you? You're over here on this little plot with me, aren't you? I believe you are. But whereabouts? Whereabouts in the UK are you? Right. Okay. So it's fine in Melbourne. And as usual, Jade is swamped with work. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Right, so I am halfway through watching Jade's most recent rant. And and it's brilliant. It's hilarious. I was kind of sad that I had to leave off to do the stream, actually. It's very, very funny. I was having a great time watching it. I'm like exactly halfway through. So I will be continuing to watch it after I finish the stream. While I'm sorting out my gear in here ready for teaching later. So if you haven't seen that, watch it. It's really, really good. And a lot of nostalgia in there for me as well while Jade was talking about the Well, Jade was talking about the Commodore 64 and the Spectrum and stuff. Um, because similarly for me, my first experience of sequencing music was on the Commodore 64. It brought some great memories of that stuff back. DJ says he's opposite the Chinese firework company. Oh, are you? Ah, yeah, yeah. There's nothing like a good rant, Jade, and you are particularly good at a good old fashioned rant. I have to say, just let it all out. Makes you feel better. All right, so let's get to work, right? So here is the middle section of my track. It has become known as the fart metal bit because of this sound here. So here's how this section went, right? So when I was like writing this track, putting it together, I wanted to have a section in the middle where things changed, where a different bit. I personally don't get much of a kick out of music that sort of just goes round and round. I like music that is led. I like dynamics. I like changes. I like drama. And so I thought, right, we're going to have a section because it's this track for this music I'm working on recently. Most of it is kind of a bit meaner sounding than this track, and this one's kind of a bit more upbeat, a bit almost jolly sounding. And so I thought we're going to have a miserable section in the middle where it really slows down and it gets all moody and scary and stuff. And so my idea for it was pretty basic, really. I'm going to change key. I'm going to go to a miserable sounding key. I'm going to use just minor chords. It's going to be slow. I'm going to take the drums out. I'm going to have some kind of odd percussion instead, which Blipbox is perfect for. I'm going to use Phase Monkey because I just got it and it's new and I like it, so I use the sound off that. And I've kind of neglected this section while I've been working on the rest of it. And I've grown a little bit concerned about this section because at the moment it actually doesn't really fit. It doesn't really fit the rest of the track. Now, I'm the kind of person that the way I work on stuff and the way I think about stuff in life generally is, well, it'll be all right. I'll make it work. It'll be fine. Like I'll just go from C major to C minor and I'll go slow and I'll make it work. It'll be fine. And I've become a little bit growingly concerned that maybe actually I can't do that. I was talking to one of my friends about it last night. And he said, so what have you done in this section? And, oh, well, I've gone from a C major to a slower tempo and it drops to C minor. Really? Why did you do that? You're never going to make that work. Well, I said, okay, watch me. Well, he's not watching, as far as I know, but anyway, let's see if we can make it work. I do have a few ideas. Possibly none of them are any good, but we're going to find out. So, the first thing I want to sort out is this fart noise. Now, the thing is, right, when I first heard this sound, right, and when I was sort of demonstrating Blipbox as well, I heard this sound and I thought that'll sound great. Let's go to Blipbox. Actually, I'll just select the relevant track, and we'll open up Blipbox. Now, this is a set of sounds in Blipbox that are lifted from other presets. What I've done is I've been through the other presets, had a listen, found some sounds that I thought might work in this middle bit, and I've dropped them into Jamie's FX preset. I doubt that I'm going to use like all 16 of them or anything. I just thought I'll put 16 in there And then out of those, I'll probably find some that work, I think. So the offending sound is, think this one. Now, when I first did that, I never thought it sounded like a fart. I just thought it sounded like a cool effect, let's use that. But then what happens is it hits the tempo change, and right as that sound happens, and it drags the tempo back and makes it sound more like a wet fart than it already does. So I think that sound has got to go. So let's just catch up on the chat, because you're all chatting away, and I'm just nattering on. Oh, there's loads of stuff. It's all scrolled up. I don't know how to cope with that. Hang on. It's all scrolled up, and I've missed stuff, and then I start to feel like I'm being rude and ignoring people. Matthias watched the rant as well. It was awesome. And when you said your audience is getting younger, and then started talking about stuff that only 80 plus people remember. Cheeky. Matthias is a youngling, and I've heard a track that Matthias is working on, which I'm not allowed to say too much about. But I've found out in listening to Matthias's track and giving him a little bit of feedback about it that this is actually a very, very talented young person, and we're going to hear some great stuff from him. Kiara is taking a break from September, has an audition tomorrow, and I've been doing lots of singing practice. Brahms and Verdi. My God. Yeah. You have my absolute admiration, and absolutely the best of luck with that, Kiara. Nothing like reeling in Gen Z than talking words they won't understand. Jade. Thinking military airstrike comes for the fart section, if that makes sense. It does, actually. It does make a lot of sense to me. Okay. I was wondering if the fart was a placeholder, or if it will indeed be a fart. Well, unicorns, it has become a placeholder. It wasn't intended to be in the first place, but yes, we are going to change that sound. As Pete says, there are no rules. This is correct, Kiara. You should replace it with the sound from Thump 1. Jamiemal, he's got some monster sounds. Yeah, that's a preset, isn't it? Let's check. Preset in. Oh no, it's not a preset in here. What's Thump 1, Jade? You've lost me there. So I have some sounds, right? So I'm going to play the sounds. Let's get a suitable camera angle. I think I have a suitable view. I think, yes. So now you can see me hitting the Sonido tempo pad, right? So there is the fart sound. Here are the other sounds. I've already used that one. I dig that one. I really like that one. It's kind of like it just reminds me of old video games. It reminds me of Defender for some reason. Slightly psycho sort of a sound. I like that one. I like that one. Hey Ashley, thank you for being here. Ashley, we've been talking about where we are in the world and what the weather's like. So where are you and what's the weather like? I'm enjoying these sounds. They might not be useful to my track, but I'm enjoying them. Matthias, that is really what my Patreon should be all about. It's me who's honoured, that anyone would want to be part of my Patreon, and and giving people feedback and helping them with tracks is really what I set out to do with my Patreon. It's great, making presets and samples and sharing people's music and just building a community gradually. It's a very small community at the moment, but it's a select and awesome group of people that I very much enjoy being friends with. And I'm keen to grow it, but I want to grow it sort of nice and organically. I want to keep it, a nice community. But yeah, giving people feedback and help with tracks really is the main thing I'd like to do there. That's what I want to achieve. DJ used to be glued to Defender in the WAP. Oh, the Wap and Take, yeah. The Wap and Take was a rock bar in Sheffield, where I lived. I spent an awful lot of my sort of late teens through to mid-20s in the WAP, and sadly it's no longer there. We used to go to the WAP and Tech, and get steamed, and then we used to go to a club called Rebels, which also is sadly no longer there. And it was all the period was it was the Bon Jovi period. Basically, it was when commercial rock had just exploded, and the thrash thing was huge as well. Great times, great places. Makes me really sad actually that stuff's no longer there. But time moves on. Anyway, so we are looking for a sound to replace this one. And I was thinking, was it this one? No, it wasn't that one. I was thinking that one. Rebels, the stairs. Yeah, the stairs were, there were a lot of them. And I actually once got thrown down the stairs for being involved in a scrap. And it was very, very unfair, really, because there was this guy, and he was trying to chat up the girl who I was with at the time, and he was a really big fella, But I'd had a few pints of Special Magic Fighter, and so I'd been to the bar, and I came back, and he was there. He was once again trying to chat up my girlfriend, who was desperately trying to get away from him, and so I kind of tapped him on the shoulder and told him, would he please go away nicely, in more colourful language, and he took a swing at me, and so I attacked him, and we ended up on the floor scrapping, and then this enormous bouncer pulled me off of him and threw me down the stairs. Well, the first flight anyway. And told me to never ever come back. But they'll let me back in next week, so, and not the end of the world. Anyway, I just thought I'd tell you that. So, I'm going to replace that with that. So, I think the easiest way actually to do that, let me just look where it comes up on the grid here. Because the pads in Blipbox are the opposite way around to the pads on my tempo pad. I think it'd be nice if it was possible to flip these actually in Blipbox, which I think the developer did mention to me in an email. I'll have to chase that up, unless he's added that as a possibility in the. Let's have a look. Don't think that's been added yet as a possibility. No. That's something you can do in that other drum software. Yeah. It'll come to me in a moment. But There's another one that's set out like this, like with the 16 pads, and you can flip them the other way around if that's how you prefer to have them. Oh, I'm going to have to look it up because it's going to annoy me. And it's actually a really good drum app as well, and it is called EG Pulse. There we are. Oh, I just accidentally started my Walking Dead game. You don't want to watch me play Walking Dead game. Although my little boy, Freddie, is always pestering me. Dad, why don't you do a live stream, like a gaming live stream? Because that's all he's interested in. So if I was to move the MIDI for this note to easier way. I will lift settings from this pad and drop them there. So now, when we play from here, we should have that sound. Okay, and so after... Okay, what do you think to that? I think that's a cool sound. What do you guys think to it? Yeah, 2 fight stories already. It's pretty much my fight stories exhausted. I'm not really a fighter, it's just it's just I mean, I'm very, very old. I've only ever had a few in my whole life. When you're as small as me, you don't tend to be you don't pick fights. I personally think that works. Now, what I was thinking was, the problem with this section is this, the main section, it sort of stops suddenly. This section starts and no sounds carry over from the previous section. So I was thinking that it might be a good idea to make that happen, to carry over some of the sounds that we're already using, and that will help to sort of integrate this middle weird section. So if I just expand this last bar of MIDI from drum 80 and go in here, show in editor, I think it's this note here. There we are. Now what would happen if because I really, really like this effect. If I added a note here to make this effect happen. Okay, and then that works with both of those hitting together. Now, what about the effect that comes just after that one? Oh, I didn't mean to press that. There. Right, I like that one, but there's this sort of silence going on behind, and I think that something needs to come in before that. So, talking about using sounds that we've already used, what if we have a look at what sounds I have up here that I used in the introduction that might come back in, because we've used those sounds, we've rested those sounds, maybe they come back in now. So, a cymbal crash, DJ. I hadn't really thought of that. I'd sort of thought of resting the standard sounds, but I could very easily experiment with that. I'll just do this bit first because it's on my mind right now. So we've got I've got my keyboard. We've got King of FM, which has that's the lead sound we use in the introduction that comes back in. Then we've got, I could put Alteza on the fart replacement, give it a nice tail over the quiet spot. Yes, that's something that that I have thought about, and that is a really, really good point, that, Matthias, because when you've got sounds in sparser areas, that extra bit of reverb tail, can make all the difference. And Altezza is a great reverb for that kind of thing. If I look at my mixing desk and just show you this, all I have so far, reverbs wise, is although in a couple of the apps I am using their own reverbs at the moment. Probably won't when I actually come to mix. I usually don't. Occasionally I make an exception when an app just has a reverb on a sound that just really works, and so I just leave it. But what I'm a fan of is not using too many different reverbs in a track. Sometimes if it's a vocal track, then very often I'll only use one reverb for everything in the track, because I feel like that often helps bind the whole thing together, especially when we're talking about real, acoustic instruments. If you're using, say, a real drum kit sound, even if it's software, but it's supposed to sound like a real drum kit, and guitars, piano, vocal, that sort of thing, I would try and bind that together by using all the same reverb. In a more electronic track, I'll use more. I'm not saying that's like a rule that you should follow. It's just, for me, it seems to work for my kind of thing. But at the moment, all I have is I have the reverb I'm using on the kit, which is SparkVerb. SparkVerb I like because it's easy to get a sound. It's easy to get a reverb that's like a sort of a fairly standard studio reverb, but it's also got the it's got the high and low cut, which to me for a reverb is essential. If a reverb doesn't have high and low cut, it's a bit of a pain in the arse, because you need to open another effect, another EQ or something to do that. So also I have here the gated reverb sound that I made for the snare, which was done in Mixbox. So right, so we've got the King of FM lead there. We also have snare synth. That's quite a nice weird sound. That one could work. Then we've got the King of Bass sound, which actually, that's one sound that I have in my project that I'm really not sort of settled on yet. It might be better to avoid using that one. Then we've also got BA1. So this is the sound that this makes up for there being no bass guitar on the beginning of the track. So that is this sound. So I do think that sounds awesome. What does that sound like if you play it in a higher frequency? So that could be quite useful. And we've also got Tal in the project, which is a gorgeous sound, but do I need that as well as the choir and the phase monkey sound? We've got this King of FM sound. Oh yeah, that's the arpeggio. Yeah, forgot about that. So, a bunch of things there that we could use to add. So, we'll go here, back to where we were. And this is happening. Would one of those... What about if I used a really low a really low octave as a sort of a drone off one of those sounds. So let's just have a... I'll go to a low octave on this keyboard. See, that sounds pretty good. Oh! Alright, that's promising. What about this sound? Sounds nice, not so fat. King of bass. Sounds kind of farty, actually. Right, that's doing the same thing as it is earlier in the track. What about an octave below that? I'm not so sure about that sound. Right? Actually, the sound from Tal, that's an octave below. Well, I could use any of these sounds. Oh yeah, again, that's the arpeggio. Right. So we'll not use that one. Okay, I'm just going to experiment, see which sounds good. Let's have a little loop here. If I put that there, and then maybe put that there perhaps, and I'll have a little pissy pants about. And you can, and we'll have a vote on which you think sounds best. Kind of think that one might have been better an octave higher. Yeah, okay, I'm going to do that one again. Okay, that was not so effective. What about this one? Actually, that one's kind of effective because this one, let me just show you this. If I just go here and show you, right, the curve as the tempo drags back, then what happens is BA1, I'm going to solo it, it slows down like this. I like that because you're hearing the tempo drag back. Because it's like it's not an arpeggio actually. I created that sound with that Brambos app, perforator. It's just without perforator. It's just one long droning note, and perforator's just chopping it up. I kind of like that idea. Right, I'm going to do that one again on solo. Yeah, see, I like that. That's got potential. What do you mean fart? Honestly, everything I play, I get accused of making farty sounds. I bet you've all got that app, haven't you, that just makes fart sounds. I bet you've got that app. You're obsessed. Yeah, that Tal sound, that works as well, but I don't think we need more than one, and I think, for me, this one works best. So, just close out the tempo thing now. So, if I was to just play that in. Now, does it stop there because my bass guitar comes in there? Or would it be better I should just use this sound and lose the bass guitar? You know, I mean, that could be a possibility. The bass part is, I'm quite happy with it. It's nothing earth-shattering. It's not meant to be a particularly outstanding. Let's try muting that bass guitar. And instead of the bass, let's see what it would be like with BA1, if I can remember what notes I need to play. I'm just going to record it in while I'm doing it. Why not? So I'll just delete this bit. Right. And let's just have a go at it. Yeah, you need to press record, you stupid hippie. Evidently, I can't remember what notes I'm supposed to play. Hang on, so it's... That's it. That's it. Okay. We shall try again. If I just press undo, will undo work? Undo worked. Hey. Makes a refreshing change. I wasn't sure about that as I was playing it in. So we're going to need to make a decision here. Are we going to go with this or the bass? So I'm going to maybe just play you both. Matthias says the bass sounds nice, but the boom's high frequency is getting our minds into the fart territory. There should be an impact sound after that sliding note. After the sliding note. Do you mean the sliding note at the end of this section? Colin's here. Hi, Colin. The gap between then and the end sound and the start of the next section sound a tiny bit too long to me, but I haven't heard the whole thing in context yet. I agree. It does sound too long at the moment, so if I can't make that work with what I'm adding to this today, then I might have to look at adjusting the length of the gap to help with that. We'll see. Okay. So let's have a listen to that. I'll adjust the volume so you can hear it in the mix a bit better. I think I do need to have a little play around with the volumes in this section at the moment anyway. Right, so it's either that sound, or because there's no way that this sound and the bass guitar are going to sit nicely together. So let's unsolo the bass. Sorry, unmute the bass and hear it with the bass guitar instead. All right, so what do we think? Do we think bass, or do we think BA1, which I have to say is a fantastic sounding synth. I really love this synth. I have to say myself, I'm kind of a bit unsure, a bit undecided. We've got both, so we can press on and make a decision on it later. Depending on what we add, one might suit better than the other. But let me know your thoughts. And yeah, so what was that? About an impact sound after the sliding note. I think you mean the sliding guitar, the sliding note in the guitar solo. I think that's what you mean. And I think, yes, that would be a good idea. And when I get to Blipbox and sounds and stuff, I think we'll have a look at that. I think, actually, on that playthrough, for me, I think I really liked what happened to the sound there when I dropped BA1 out and the bass guitar took over. So I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to chop this MIDI here. There. And I'm going to mute this. Why is that so difficult to do with my mouse? Okay, I'm going to mute that and see and we'll live with it that way for a while and just see if we're still happy with it in a bit. Can the synth be muted after the bass? I think that's what I just did. I think we had the same idea, Mateus. You're not sure that skidding sound works? The skidding sound. That would be. Hang on. You mean that sound? Oh, I kind of like that. But we have other sounds here. Oh, I've got that twice now, yeah. Right, now I was thinking this sound. That one. Something like that, you know, like a sort of a bit of a science fiction kind of a some kind of what am I thinking? I'm thinking, some weird lab kind of a sound. Something like that. Now, before I get to Blipbox, as far as sounds go in this section, other than the percussion, which I'm not happy with at the moment, need something else. Something else. That BA1 coming in with that bass part fills that space, but I feel like something higher register needs to be there. Where that skid sound comes in, there is nothing other than that sound, and maybe that sound isn't the best sound. Maybe what if? So we've got the BA1 bass sound coming in doing this, gradually slowing down. Something higher, maybe a choir notes coming in higher. Maybe the C minor from the choir could come in a bar before Phase Monkey, which might be nice because that really swells. That might be a thing. Right, let's mute the skidding sound for the moment. That would be here. I keep doing that the long way around. I really do seem to struggle to press the correct button. The quicker way of doing it. I'll get used to Logic Pro. I will. At some point. Now hang on a minute. How do I mute this note? I could have sworn there was a mute option if I pressed on it. What's that about? Select. No. Maybe I can't. Oh, well, never mind. I could just delete it for now. I can always put it back in, I suppose. Why would there not be a mute button? There must be a mute button. It must be me being stupid. I'm sure I've done it. I don't know. Matthias says, oh, I see. DJ says, put the sound of a crying baby in place of the skid. And Matthias says, I can provide lots of crying baby sounds. If I needed, I have them handy. Bless you. Right, so instead of having a sound from Blipbox there at all, let's see what it would be like if we had the choir sound. Instead, bringing the C minor in early. Oh, yeah, I've got the wrong thing selected. Okay, let's give that a go again. Right, okay. Well, seeing as how that choir swells, Maybe I could just... Maybe I could just... start playing the chords sooner, so that it's more audible when that first effect has gone. Yeah, I think that works. So the easy way for me to do that would be to expand this MIDI here and let's press the create button this time. Let's do this. Right. So I would want these notes to start there. Okay? Right. Phase Monkey's too loud. It's sort of... And I know I keep saying that I don't worry about mixing and levels and stuff until I've got the parts sorted, but I am finding that a bit distracting. I want to just correct that. If I put this on, send that back to there. Right, okay. Okay, now. So, yeah, you're probably right about that, Matthias. The probably way to mute it is just to drag the volume down, which I could, of course, done. But it just annoyed me that there was no mute button, so I just deleted it like a child. Colin says it sounds better with the choir coming in earlier. Thank you, Colin. I thought so too. Kiona says put the choir up an octave at the start, then drop down an octave, then builds how it is. Just a thought, not sure if it will work. It's actually thanks to Kiona that the choir is in the octave that it is, because I had the whole thing an octave higher, and it climbs, so I keep changing the inversion of the chord each time so that it gets higher and higher towards the end of the section. But it was just going too high, and she said drop it an octave, and I thought that would sound sucky, but it actually sounded great. So I'm going to go with Kiona's idea. So if... and we'll see if it works. So if I press this, right, okay, and we'll go like this. And then if I go here and I can't chop from within here, but I can do it here. Yeah. The split thing needs some looking at in Logic Pro for iPad. It could be better. Right, now hang on, I've split that, but it's not chopped the MIDI. That's interesting. Okay, well, I'll just put it in again. Never mind. Right, so then I would need that note there. Right, like that. And then, oops. And then I would need this note here. Like that. And then this chord can go up an octave. Will Kiona be correct again? I accidentally just made it an octave down, so let's go an octave up. Is this what you meant, Kiona? Tell me if I'm doing it wrong, if I've misunderstood you. Right, so we'll listen to that, and let's see if Kiona's idea is once again a belter. Will it suck, or will it be suckless? Let's find out. I need to listen to that again. All right, okay. So what does everybody think to Kiona's idea? Does that work? Is that cool? I think it's cool. I think it works. And I think that when I've got some reverb on the choir sound, when I get to that bit, I think that will help as well, because it will just help with that tail of the choir merging into the next bit of choir as the octave drops. Because the thing about this choir sound is when you hold it down, it builds, it swells, then when you change chord, you see what I mean? You lose depth on it because it takes a while to swell back in. Which is why I've done this with the choir, where I've tried to make this part so that the notes sustain right into the next chord wherever possible. So I'm using chords that have lots of common notes, and so instead of just putting a chord in and then the next chord in, I've continued those notes wherever possible throughout into the next chord for as long as possible, and it helps to keep that sort of level there. Colin says you can mute single MIDI notes by selecting the note and then opening the inspector. In the details section, you can switch mute on to mute. Yes, you can. Yes, that's how you do it. Yes, thank you, Colin. That's how you do it. That's how I've done it before. But to be honest, I don't really want to do that. That's far too much of a pissy pants about. Like when you compare it to other doors where you've just got a mute button and you just select a note, press mute, and that's it. It's done. Like in Cubase, that's just for me. These are the little things in Logic Pro for iPad that make certain things a bit slow. Going into the inspector all the time. So that when you're doing fades on audio, if you've got a lot of audio to edit and you have to go into the inspector for every fade, it's a pain in the ass and it's slow. That needs looking at. But I'm sure that when Apple bring us an update eventually, sometime this century, I'm sure they will have looked at these things. Okay, Colin says that sounded good. And I happen to think that that did indeed sound quite special. At the top note of the first chord of the choir, there's a pedal all the way through, perhaps. That won't work because we have a sharp 5 note in there that, because I did experiment with that already and it sounded quite discordant. I agree, it's very long-winded and it's much easier to delete it or reduce the velocity to 0. Yeah, it's like, well, I'll just delete it then. I can always put it back in later. It'll just be quicker. Yeah. But Kiara, having said that, your ideas so far have been quite brilliant, so keep them coming. I might just let you write the track for me. I have a message from my missus, which I'm just going to check because she obviously forgot that I'm streaming. She says, I was checking it in case it was concerning one of our children, you know. I've just been to Sainsbury's and bought something very exciting. Can you guess what? Must be cake. Right. So, next. Do we need any other sounds other than what we have? Before I get to Blipbox and the percussion sounds. Need something there. Right, okay. So here are my thoughts, and let's hear yours. I think that now, with that choir and BA1 coming in the gap, without that skid effect that we took out because DJ didn't like it, I think that's enough. The gap there sounds fine, and then the other instrumentation comes in, it sounds fine for one progression of chords, which is what is it? It's maybe like 4 bars or something, and then when it starts to go around the chord pattern again, something needs to happen there. Something new needs to, because nothing new happens there. Sounds a little bit like something should to me, but then after that progression of chords, the guitar lead comes in. Now that lead is a placeholder, that's not staying. I feel like I could have played it better. And also, I do have to put down a guitar solo for the end of the track after the synth lead here. So to fill after the synth lead, the remainder of the track will be a guitar solo. So when I put that down, I will redo this placeholder guitar here, which I've labeled Miserable Git. Maybe a low bass drone. I don't tend to use bass drones when I am using bass guitar in the track, but a really low drone might work. That might be a good idea. Maybe one of the sounds that we're already using as a drone, one of the sounds that we're already using, played lower so that it makes a drone. Let's try it. See, Colin has good ideas too. I like this. You guys just have all the good ideas and I'll just do them. That's the choir. That's the choir down a couple of octaves. Or the other one that might work well is King of FM, which I would need to select if I wanted you to hear it. That one's a bit too erratic, maybe. I think maybe the choir. Let's try that. So, if I play that. So I think I liked that, bringing that low drone in twice. I liked it so much. I'm going to add it to the track. Let's just join this MIDI back up here because my idea there didn't work. Anyway, let's just join these two MIDI bits together. Bounce and join. Then I'll go into this MIDI. And so here we have that's the choir, an octave higher, as Kiona suggested. That's bringing us into the chord progression. So the chord progression starts here. It is indeed 4 bars, as I suspected. And then the drone would come in after the first progression here. So which C do I want? Right, that's the one. Why do these little keys not light up in Logic Pro for iPad when you play a controller? I like things like that. Why does it not do that? So I'm going to put this C note in here, and that's going to last for... So difficult to edit notes with a mouse in this particular door. Right, and then I played it again and I liked it. This time, I think what I'll do with this is... Oh, now, wait a minute. Is that right? Because that... So here, we've got... No, I've put it in the wrong place. I've put that one in the wrong place. So move that across. Oh dear, I've got copy selected. Undo, stupid hippie. Right, now move that across. Right, then that means that this one will move across to here. Now, where does that change to G? The chord changes to G there. I think I'll just see what happens if we put a G in. That one or this one? Ooh, let's go with that. where does this kick back into the... Right, so that wants to stop at bar 99. Right, let's listen to that. And then we shall have a suck or suckless vote. Right. Okay. I'm sort of seeing another problem now. I'm happy with the beginning of how this comes in. At the end of this section now, getting it back into the other track, that was not the part I was concerned about. That's not flowing brilliantly at the moment. I'm quite confident that I can make it do so. But the thing is it seems to work with that phase monkey sound dropped quite low in the mix in this middle section. But it's phase monkey where I added the with AB pitch pad, I added the I added this. Which was kind of the thing that was getting us back into the track, that sort of G pitching right up to a C, and then we kick back in on the C chord. So let's just see if because I could easily automate it so the volume of that particular instrument increases so you really hear that climb, and that might just make everything work as it goes back in. Let's just experiment with it if I just do that with the mixing desk. Right, so I'm going to need to be whereabouts. If I go to the latter half of the midsection, right, okay, I'm not saying that's the only thing I need to do to solve it, but that will definitely help bringing the volume of phase monkey up as we reach the end of the section. What else? Not sure. Let's work on Blipbox and the sounds I've got going on here. So I will join the MIDI for Blipbox together. Can't drag and select with the mouse yet in Logic. Join those. So I can have a look at the MIDI for Blipbox and figure out what we're using already. Now, let me set up a loop for this section. Right. Okay, so we have this kick sound, sort of a kick sound, which is that one. You like that better with the pitch, with the volume of the phase monkey going up towards it. Yeah, I think that's I'm gonna have to do that, right? So we've got this sort of a kick type of a sound, which is these notes here. I have some other kick sounds I pulled over, or you know, kickish kind of sounds. That's not one of them. There's that one. I suppose that is one. I don't know. So, would it be better with that sound, I wonder? I'm going to experiment with it. I like it, Keanu. I'm just going to experiment with it to see whether this one might be preferable. So I'm just going to shift this MIDI up to there, and let's just have a listen. Yeah, other than that I think that one wants to be louder. I think I prefer the sound that I had originally. It's always good to sort of have a pissy pants around and just make sure, you know, that you're confident about your sound. Right now, I've got that explosion sound there. Right, now that is that sound. I kind of like that sound. But maybe, let's just see what else we have. There's the skid sound. Right, that's the explosion, okay. I really like that. It almost sounds like this sort of a... Like there's a voice in there somewhere. Again, that one reminds me of old video games. I do like that sound. I'm not sure there's a place for it, but I really like it. And that, very psycho. Right. Wonder what if we've got this in too many times, I think, this sound. What if I switch that out for this one, which is going to be, no idea which note. Everything's upside down. There. It's a bit quiet though, and I can bring the volume of it up. What other sounds do we have? Right, so what if that was... Right, okay. That's the one I'm going to change to there. And this one, I think, if I would that one, no, this one. It does work if you do a tappy version of it. Right, so maybe I could get that sound I sort of had in my mind. Which would mean I could go, no, like that. No. Pissy panting around with the mouse. Not my favourite thing. Right, so put this here. Note's too long there, so if I go to 8th note, that should surely be right. I don't want to sort of, pile too many sounds in. Just because I've picked out 16 doesn't mean I have to use like 16 different sounds in this section. A smaller selection used well will, of course, be much more effective. And I think what I want to do is repeat the sequence that I've used. In the second half of this, when the toms from drum 80 come in, off beat to kick, says Keonra. But do you mean it's do you mean this new sound here, this one? Because it's like, oh, sorry, loop. There we go. Yeah, the new sound. Is it? Are you making it as a suggestion of what I should do, or are you saying that it's wrong? I'm not sure exactly what you mean, Keanu. I'm sorry. Right. So just kind of give me a stupid hippie explanation, please. And I'm thinking that maybe we have enough sounds there. Let me just have another little look through my sounds. So that one could be. Kind of feeling that one. And this one I really like. Where can I put that one? Where can I put that one? I really like that one. Let's see. Kiora says, I suggest put new sound on the offbeat where the kick isn't. Oh, okay. Okay. We think about that while I do this. I think I'm going to go with this one on the offbeat. If I can press the right button. I like this sound. So I can't remember. I can't remember where I played it and thought it was good, but I liked it at the time. Maybe I should just play it in. No, because I spend ages correcting it. Let's. Oh right, hang on. It was there. Right, so I need 8 notes. Yeah, that's right. So which key is it? There. I'm going to put it in every time like it's, too predictable, too predictable, too predictable. I think one would fit in before this sound comes in. And I've just accidentally put in a note, I think. This is a great thing about touchscreen. Accidental notage. What's that one? Is that one right or... Yeah, that was supposed to be there. And these aren't. Accidental. So that was going to be there. wasn't entirely sure that that one did sound good. Other than that, I kind of like it. I don't want to overuse these sounds. I think I'm going to lose that one. And I think I probably have enough. I just probably have enough. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resist the temptation to stick any more sounds in. I'm just going to repeat what I did with this one here. There. And I think that's enough. And then I'll just make it repeat into the next. Just duplicate what I've got into the next section and see if that works. I'm going to take it back from here. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy with that right now. DJ mentioned at some point about maybe extending the end of the explosion and fade it out. I think you're right. That's something I need to get to. But let's just see if we can copy. Before I copy this across, something that occurs to me. In drum 80, what did I actually use for this bit? Did I just use toms here? I think these are just toms. Yeah, just toms in that section. Right, that's fine. So we shouldn't have any clashes, I don't think. But we'll listen out for clashes. So, as I want an exact duplicate of what I've done in Blipbox for this bit, I think I'll simply drag this to here. And chop this first bit off. Because that first effect doesn't need to repeat. Then we go to duplicate. And no, I remember. Did this the other day, didn't I? When you've been on split, you have to go back to trim before you can then copy. Right, okay, and now we'll listen to that section and see if that does work. I'm happy with that content. I mean, I might adjust the odd bit or something here and there. I'm not sure about the very, very last sound, but I think it's too early to know exactly. So I might just chop and change a couple as we go along. But I'm pretty happy with that content there, and I think that we now have enough instrumentation in that middle section. There's enough layers. I've got to automate the phase monkey sound, increasing in pitch at the end. But the other thing is then, what about what the other instruments are doing to get back in? To get back in to the main section. So let's just go back a little bit. In fact, no, I'll need to go back further than that. We'll go back to here. And then I'm going to do the hippie automation thing live again with Phase Monkey. Let's listen for what it needs at the end. Right. Okay. I apologise for the volume. I just realised because the end section is louder than this middle section. I realise I've got the volume turned up a little bit too loud for the stream. So if that was blowing anyone's ears out, I'm very sorry. Very sorry. Okay. So Colin says sounds great, but the end. Can't see that bit. I need to scroll up a little bit. But the end toms need sorting out over the tempo change. The end toms. Oh, I see what you mean, Colin. The toms do in fact what I've done. I shall show you. So the toms are just programmed in like this. Very what's the word? Very. Can't think of the word. It's just a repetitive pattern. Everything's all on the line. There's a word for it. It won't come to me, but everything is all on the line. And so strictly as the tempo goes back up, like this, they should just get faster and faster. Are you thinking that they sound a little bit too? What word did you use? Sorry. It sounds quite stilted during the tempo change. Yeah, maybe they're not. Yeah, it's quantized DJ. Yeah, it's all quantized to the line. You know what I think it might be? I think it might be because those tom sounds, they've got literally like no, decay to them at all. They're really sort of, the way I mean, to be honest, the notes are not really the drum sounds are not really finalized or anything yet. I think they need a little bit more sustain to them, and as they get faster and faster, I think they just need to ring into each other a bit more, perhaps. They do get faster, but you can increase the note division towards the end, so it goes even faster. I could. Yeah, that could be a thing. The thing I was thinking actually about that section there is, do those snares work at the end, or should it just be toms right up to the thing? Because, yeah, like Kiana says, like a snare roll in trance, because I am deliberately using electronic sounding sounds. They're not supposed to sound like real drums, so I could in fact do something like that, which wouldn't necessarily be possible to do with real drums. I could do that. It's a lot easier to do in Cubasis if you're wanting to add a volume swell to it as well. Okay. Should the snares come in sooner, or should the toms last longer? What if that curve was a little... Well, actually, no, I can't change. I can't change the curve because the pitch increase in Phase Monkey was done to that curve. So I'm stuck with that curve. Maybe. Hey, Ed. You're learning a lot watching this. I'm learning a lot doing it, Ed. I'm because what I'm basically doing is I'm running everything by these excellent people in the chat and nicking all their brilliant ideas, and I'm just doing it. So when I release this track, I'm going to have to credit absolutely everybody who's watched these streams. I'm wondering whether it might be nice here to bring the snares in instead of bringing the snares in right at the end here. What about bringing the snares in for this bar? And actually do that kind of, that sort of trap roll. Would it be a trap roll? I'm thinking. Snare coming a little sooner, but the toms could roll into the snare roll. Let's have a pissy pants around with it and see. Right? So what we'd have then is, if I put this button on to copy, and then drag these over here, and then right, we're going to need a loop. Right. Now, yeah, you're probably right there, DJ. You probably are. You probably bang on. Yeah, right. So you just saw that curve there, right? So it speeds up over a few bars, but the last bar of that curve is not that steep, and I am stuck with that. So if I was to put a mental amount of snares in here. Change that 16th notes. Okay, that's not working for me. Why is that not working for me? Oh, that's why. Okay. No. There. No, I'm going to have to undo that because I think I've got doubles. I've got doubles of some of those notes. Right, that's better. Okay, let's go from there. Okay. Now we'll try that again. Okay. Right. So yes, Keon, you were quite correct. Now, could the toms want to continue? If I had less toms, if I had less snares at the beginning, it would make the later ones sound even busier, faster. Why won't that note just delete? What's going on there? That's better. Hang on. Right, now what about these toms? Right, let's just try copying the toms as they are for now onto this last section of the bar. Let's go from further back. I think that sounds pretty good. Let's see what it sounds like in the track, though. The toms come in, see, like back here, so let's go from back here, from when the toms first come in. Take the loop off, press play. like that. I think that sounds good. The only thing I can think of to try beyond what we've done there is to bring in the snare sooner and add it by smaller increments over 2 bars instead of 1. But I don't know, because if you look at the project, you've got the so you've got toms, more toms, lots more toms, toms and snare. Maybe take out each second tom for the first bar. Sorry, from bar 98 into the tempo change. I don't know. I don't think we need to lose toms because we're gradually building toms up through this section here. I don't really want to lose toms there. I just want more and faster and back in. And I think that does it. I think that's I quite like that just as it is. I'm really pleased with that. So it's almost 2:00. So let me just minimize my project like this so we can see an overview of what's going on. Yeah. Right. So I've reached a point that I wanted to reach today, which is the middle section is it's not exactly like finalized and complete, but pretty much everything is there, and what isn't there, we know what it needs. The rest of the track is finished, all bar piss panting around with a few sounds and a few little details. Everything is in place. What I need to do next is I need to replace this placeholder guitar just here, and I need a guitar solo for the last section of the song after the synth solo here. So I've got some guitar bits to do. Other than the guitar bits, what I was thinking of adding to this track was maybe just a few little sounds, maybe just a little ear candy type thing. There's a few sounds that I've heard whilst having to play around with the SNES synth and the Sega one as well, that I thought might sound quite, just little bits here, not really sort of part of the instrumentation, just little ear candy sounds. Other than that, I think we're done. So I'll plan a stream where we put the guitar down and maybe look at the ear candy stuff, perhaps. And then it's time to get into mixing. And what I do when I'm mixing a track is, first thing I do is I commit to sounds and commit things to real audio. I don't think you should be mixing down a project with things that are not yet real audio. Lots of people disagree with me, but most big name producers do it that way. They want everything down to real audio before you actually say a mix is finished. So I've that to do, and I don't know about mixing. I don't know about mixing like, in a live stream. I have done some of that before on my Patreon, but mixing can be a long, slow, tedious progress. I don't know about tedious. Not for me personally, but it might be tedious to watch. So I don't know about that. I'd like to know what people's thoughts are about mixing in a stream. Maybe I'll do like so much of it on my own, and then do some things in the stream to share some mixing thoughts and ideas. DJ says, do you keep a backup of the project with all the MIDI stuff just in case? Yes, I do. I always keep all the MIDI stuff what I will tend to do is copy a project at certain points and save MIDI. Sometimes I might kind of reach a point where the track's going to go off in a different direction than I thought, and I've recorded some things, maybe some real audio, maybe some stuff that's still MIDI, and also I'll save that version just in case this new idea don't work and I need to come back to that stuff. But I always save all of the MIDI for all the stuff in the project, which I don't mind doing because like MIDI doesn't take up any memory, virtually nothing, and I save things to the cloud eventually when I'm sure I've finished working on a project, and then it's always there if I need it later. Quite a lot of MIDI I share with on my Patreon account as well. I have a folder on my Patreon where there's samples and there's MIDI stuff, and that keeps growing. And I have thought, actually, what might be an interesting idea, one of these days when I finish a track and it's done and released, what I might do is just share all the stems from the project on my Patreon account. Then if somebody wants to chop it up, because I do share samples as well, not just like one shots, but also like 8-bar, 16-bar bits of guitar, rendered drums, synths, and all sorts of stuff. But if somebody wanted to get the stems and do their own chop up and their own remix or use it in any way they want, I might do that if anyone's interested in it. Okay, so Cameron says mix live or not, your call. Not a lot of people do it live. Bit challenging. Some people are interested to see the progress. Yeah, okay. I'm going to give that some thought. I'm not sure on that. I'm not really sure, but we are nearing completion. So I'll have a think about what I'm going to do exactly for the next stream, and then I will spam the internet and advertise when it's going to happen. This time of the day is the best time for me to stream. It's not the best actually for the followers that I've built up, but it's when I can do it. So thank you very much to those of you who have been here today and helped me out with this. I really appreciate I like the attention. I appreciate the advice, and it's nice to have the sort of companionship actually whilst I'm working on stuff. It's really it's wonderful. So thank you very, very much for that. I'm going to play you out with where the track is so far. Thank you very, very much for being here. Yes, time to go and get some coffee, DJ. So good luck with all your Songtember projects. Reach out to me if I can help you in any way. If you'd like me to play on your track, join my Patreon. I do that for my patrons. So until next time, I will see you later. Make some music and try not to pissy pants about.